shitcoin. Hold up on my Nakamoto.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Blockchain Dynamics Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show.
We're chilling here on Sunday, May 6th, 2018.
That's right. It's episode number 93 of the Blockchain Dynamics Show.
Counting them up all the way up to 93.
In case you didn't know, this is for entertainment purposes only and in no way constitutes financial advice.
My name, as usual, is Brandon Doge.
And today I'm Woody.
We're going to be giving away some coins this week. The Arrow thing, a big shout out again to Obi for hooking us up with those Arionum, but we are going to be giving away a different coin this week.
Yep. This week we have 250 wager to give away thanks to blockaudit.org on Twitter.
Yeah, these guys do code reviews, like contract testing, that kind of stuff. A one-on-one consultation for developers. Seems like some useful services for, at least for crypto developers.
Yeah, and so we appreciate them sponsoring our giveaway for a couple shows here, and you can check them out at blockaudit.org. Last week's trivia question was, what DAG-based coin was distributed in 10 rounds of airdrop?
The answer, of course, was Byteball. And somebody got that one right away.
Yep, congrats to the winner last week. And we'll do this week's trivia question somewhere in the middle of the show.
Somewhere. We're going to start it off as per usual with the news. Love the news.
We do love news.
First up on the docket here.
First up, we got PollyWog announces a fee adjustment, or an adjustment to their fee schedule.
That's right. This actually works out to be a pretty substantial reduction in fees. Before, it used to be, they've always had a maker-taker system. They had the maker at 0.15 and the taker at 0.25, which it's always been lower than Bittrex, but Binance especially has kind of brought on a new competition for low fees.
For sure.
If you use the BNB thing with Binance, you can get down to like 0.05 or really low fee percentage, which is something, of course, that market makers and whales and high-volume traders all love. And so we can...
Which all the exchanges want to attract more of. Yeah,
exactly. Especially Polo with their volume having dropped off lately, too. So the new fee schedule here, the starting fees will be lower. So it's going to start at 0.1 and 0.2. So that's
a reduction for everyone across the board.
Right. So that puts them at almost a little over half of Trex's fees, but still over twice Binance's fees, at least on the maker. But still quite a bit lower. The interesting thing here is they adjusted their fee tiers. One thing that I've always liked about Polo is they've had public fee tiers for a long time. A lot of times you kind of get the impression that exchanges have tiered fees, but it's like behind the scenes, or you're not, it's not transparent. So it's nice at least that they do it publicly.
Sure.
They've had it for a long time, but the tiers were indexed to Bitcoin, and so they set it like the first tier is like 600 Bitcoin, and they set it to that when Bitcoin was $1,000, and so now it was like almost impossible for people even to get to the first tier.
Yeah, or especially maybe back in the beginning of the year when Bitcoin was really expensive.
Yep, definitely. So now it's just indexed against dollars, and the dollar amounts are a lot lower, so it'll be easier for more traders to get lower fees. It'll be. I'm curious to see how this plays out, because you're essentially going to get into a situation where, at least the cost to trade between Polo and Binance, the gaps could get really small because they're each going to have really low fees. So you're going to expect to potentially see some spreads get pretty narrow.
Right. Well, obviously it has something to do with going back to Circle acquiring PollyWog, and they're trying to do some things to either signal that they're coming back or they feel like they are back. I would say, from my perspective, they aren't quite back yet to their glory days, that's for sure. But
yep,
it'd be interesting to see if they can, work through all of their support tickets or whatever they had backed up, and then maybe get a new coin or two on there, see how things go. So
it's really hard for me to imagine them getting back to like the kind of monolithic status that they had like at the start of 2017. I don't think we're going to see that, but I would not be surprised to at least see them getting up back into being close to Bittrex and maybe still behind Binance for a little bit, but more competitive.
Maybe these trading fees will assist them in getting there. We'll see.
We shall see.
Next up on the news list here is related to a class action suit that I guess was distributed, maybe not served yet, from an angry Ripple investor.
This guy's real sour. Really unhappy with Ripple.
Yeah. He kind of has a I tried to read some of his complaint, and it's pretty lengthy, and a lot of it's just more is evidence based more than like his complaint is pretty basic. He has 2 different points. One is that he thinks Ripple is an unlicensed security, and he's trying to bring this to, I guess, the attention of the government so that they take action on it. And then the second thing is that he feels like he was coerced into making a really bad trade on Ripple.
Yep, and it's funny, the amount is really low and people are giving him some crap for that. I mean, that's relative, of course, but less than you'd expect for a huge lawsuit. The amount that he lost was $550. Looks like he had the trade open for less than 2 weeks.
Right, really short trade relatively. And he bought near the top of Ripple's price ever.
Yeah, it seems like he bought the top and then dumped it a couple weeks later at a loss. That just sounds, like a pretty run-of-the-mill trade from my experience, but...
Yeah.
Apparently he thinks, or they're saying that they were deceived by Ripple into buying the coins, which, I mean, I'm not here to defend Ripple's business practices either.
No, yeah, there was one phrase that I actually liked from his complaint, which was the never-ending ICO, which I could see that being I could see that going somewhere.
Right, and the justification he has for that essentially is that because they pre-mined so much Ripple and they're just selling them all the time, that it essentially constitutes an ongoing constant ICO, so therefore it should be a security, blah, blah, blah.
Right. We'll leave that up to the courts to decide, but we will stand by watching for their decision, right? I mean...
I guess so.
It's kind of getting to the point that it's almost obvious to me a lot of this is going to end in courtrooms all across the world.
Yep.
So...
And it's a class action thing. I don't think it's really about this one guy's case. It's, you wonder if it's even like... I think sometimes like lawyers will go and look for people to represent the case like that.
Oh, right.
And that's not even clear to me if this guy came up with it, like if this is just somebody who's really pissed off about it, or if they're just kind of like a vehicle for this whole big class action thing to go forward.
Oh, I totally know what you mean there, and I felt that way with the 2 complaints being so completely different in nature.
Yep.
The SEC, whether or not they're violating a securities whatever, seems like it would be a lot bigger deal than whether or not this guy lost $500 on a bad trade.
Yep, I agree with you on that one.
So we'll see. Maybe something out of this, but maybe nothing. Either way, an interesting story.
Other news this week, we have some Equihash Asics coming out from Bitmain. So just yet another algorithm that is going to have a Bitmain ASIC miner.
Yep. I can't act too surprised that this is being announced. I would suspect that Bitmain is researching any algo that is possibly worth their time to research.
Yeah, and with the Equihash is the Zcash algorithm. This is kind of working out to be the last like haven for the big GPU miners and stuff in terms of having like a baseline coin to mine against. They'd been able to mine Ethereum for so long, and if Ethereum was bad that week or whatever, they could mine Zcash. And now with ASICs coming out potentially for both of those, I don't see any sign that Zcash is going to fork away from it. I haven't seen a lot of momentum building up in Ethereum to fork away from it, aside from just the Casper switch. So it's kind of really the big thing for me, I guess, to look at on this is going to be what's going to happen to these GPU miners.
Yeah.
Because we kind of, in 2015, after the Litecoin ASICs came out, there was really a pretty substantial bear market for GPU miners at that time because they had all been relying on Litecoin. And that was gone, and it took until Ethereum came out, there was nothing to fill that gap.
Sure. I mean, the game hasn't changed very much. Is there any limit to the amount of tweaks people can do to algorithms to make new coins and make GPU mining profitable for themselves again?
I would assume there isn't, but it's a question of, it seems like there's not a lot of willingness to follow through with that path. It seems like most people are just going along with the ASICs. Monero is the only one we've really seen take a stand so far.
Yeah. I don't know. I can see both. I'm more on the embracing them side right now.
Right, just letting it happen.
Well, I mean, it seems like it happens every time.
Right.
That an algorithm becomes profitable enough to research and develop an ASIC for it.
And it's it's frustrating, obviously, that Bitmain has the level of control that they do, and there's a lot of people who are probably right to be concerned about it. We're kind of seeing some positive developments in that front, though, with between potentially NVIDIA getting into mining. You've got the new Dragon Mint miners that, from what I can tell so far, or at least not vaporware, seem to be getting well reviewed so far. And then did you see this? Like, there's a crazy mining supercomputer that got announced this week. It's like $1 million liquid cooled.
I saw that video.
GPU rig or something
that thing looked ridiculous.
Can't imagine how
looked like a rave.
I can't imagine how far in the profitability your mining operation would have to be to consider buying one of those. But
it almost seemed like it was half art piece.
Yeah, it's more of a conversation piece than a crypto than $1 million cryptocurrency
exactly.
miner.
It's like buying $1 million fish tank that generates expensive fish for you. I don't know. Let's go on.
All right.
Where was CZ this week?
What is CZ up to this week? Last week we started a new segment, a sub-segment for the news here about trying to keep up with CZ. This guy's all over the world.
It's all over the world. We like the things that he says.
He just does funny stuff.
This week we thought one of his funniest things he did was have to address an ICO that posted a picture of him with a caption under it related to them being in talks with exchanges, not mentioning Binance specifically, but then like right there's a picture of him hanging out with CZ. And he tweeted like, "Good luck getting listed on Binance. I'm happy to take pictures with people, but don't try to use them in a deceptive manner."
Yeah, so I guess CZ feels like this guy from the GES ICO was using his picture in kind of bad faith to sell the coin, and essentially just told him that they're never going to be on Binance, which is pretty funny.
But anyway, kind of he's to the point and gets his stuff done. Good job, CZ, on calling that guy out. Since that tweet, the article in question was changed to remove the picture of CZ, and all other wording remained the same. So that was really the only problem, was the way that the order in which things were presented. At the time, I thought if they had even put the picture of CZ at the bottom of the article, it wouldn't have been a problem. It was but whatever. It was pretty clear what they were trying to imply with the positioning, so I can understand CZ's opinion there.
CZ has the gentle side and the stern side. I guess we get the stern side of CZ this week.
All right.
So yeah, that's what's up with CZ this week. Of course, we will keep you posted on what he gets up to next week.
Yep. Now, we thought we might as well mention something that's all over the news, is this meeting on Monday with some people from the SEC and the CFTC. They've got to get together and discuss the classification of ETH and some other cryptos.
This kind of seems like this one piece of news has sort of started to dominate the entire narrative, like, for this whole week. It's like the sword of Damocles, hanging over everyone's head. Now they're like,
is it a market-shifting piece of news?
Right. Are we going to find out on Monday if Ethereum is a security or not? What
do you think the impact of a decision on this could mean for the price of ETH?
For anything. You know how traders are. I think that if it comes down and they get spooked, it's going to create a crash. The bears
would just see it as an opportunity more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. What ends up happening is the buyers pull their bids, and it just takes one guy to pull the trigger, and the whole thing goes down. And I wouldn't surprise me to see that. But from my perspective, I feel like the whole securities thing is starting to get overblown. We can see the way it's affected this Ripple discussion. It's kind of like it's this cloud that's been hanging over everything that's going on with crypto right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it has to be that big of a deal, right? It's Apple is a security, Tesla is a security. These are like hundreds of billions of dollars companies. I don't think that just because it's a security means that it can't have value, and it doesn't mean it's not accessible to U.S. traders. And it doesn't matter at all, really, to people who aren't U.S. traders, except in the sense that the price is going to be affected by the market doing what it does. And so it's, for me, like, just if it's going to be called a security, just do it. Let's get it over with. Pull the Band-Aid off or whatever and be done with it, because I don't think it represents like a fundamental or an existential threat to the ecosystem in any way, in the way that some people do.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, what I've been thinking about how other things are regulated, and I was kind of reflecting on it in relation to actually like designer drugs, and people have had a really hard time regulating them, essentially because they have to address each one on an individual basis.
Yep.
And make each one illegal, and there's an infinite number of chemicals that mess with people's heads that the chemists out there have already designed, and they will distribute them at the correct times. They're just kind of releasing them one at a time as they get banned or whatever. So the correlation there to me is if we have to have a discussion about every single cryptocurrency and whether that specific one is or isn't a security, then I would say the infinite number of cryptocurrencies will outpace the regulators forever.
Right, and you can imagine, it's one of those funny things about crypto is you could troll them in a way by creating an arbitrarily large number of them and then submitting them to the regulators, or just tweaking them slightly and then just constantly inundating the market with these. Because if you're saying that a crypto is a security, you're essentially giving anybody the ability to create a security instantly at no cost at any time.
Right. And then you have to find them and tell them, don't do that.
And then, so now that's under your purview to regulate. You're essentially creating an infinitely large burden, potentially infinite burden for yourself.
Right.
So yeah, fun stuff. We'll see what happens. But
it's no doubt it was a meeting that they were going to have, right? And that's kind of what you're saying is make a decision, guys. Say something. Say something that means something. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
I hear you on that part.
But knowing how it goes, we probably won't get anything clear on Monday anyway. It'll all just be a red herring.
Bureaucracy is slow.
Yep, true. Crypto is fast. Bureaucracy, not so much. So yeah, that's going down. Big meeting tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about that. And I think with that, we're going to jump into the market segment next. Obviously, like we said, the SEC thing is kind of hanging over the markets this week. We had that moment where it really looked like we were steaming up to 10K and it looked pretty certain to break through, and then got nicely rejected right at the edge. Here we are chilling right now at about 95.80 when we did our snapshot today.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, definitely a little slower, but in general, we're still going up. No complaints from Woody.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
As far as I didn't notice too much on individual coins this week. As far as standouts, there was a funny a spike on Decred. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yep, that Decred spike was amazing and kind of correlated to their Upbit listing.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was the driver for that.
Well, I mean, it was at least timing wise and close to it. And then there was a really, what I find humorous part of that, where the direct translation on Upbit from Decred had to read Dick Red, just because it's kind of phonetically, they have to figure out a way to express it
exactly
in the translator.
That's funny. That's funny. That's like, I remember Vanilla Coin when it was like just getting listed on the Chinese exchanges like BTC 38 and stuff, and they were calling it Wayne Coin.
Oh yeah, I remember Wayne Coin. Wayne Coin was hilarious.
It was, is that a natural transliteration of Vanilla Coin, or is that just like one guy who mistranslated it and it's stuck for everybody?
I don't know. If I had to guess, which I would be, then I would say maybe Wayne is close to plain, which Vanilla maybe was like. That's my guess.
Oh, right. All right. I don't know. I like that. That's
but
funny.
Dick Red makes sense as a phonetic pronunciation of Dick Red. So
get yourself some Dick Red over on Upbit.
Yeah. And then the low cap pump of the week probably has to go to Pickle Ricks, right?
You got to throw it up for Pickle Ricks. You can't get away with not mentioning the Pickle Ricks pump this week. Hilarious.
Yeah, Pickle Ricks is a small token on the Ubiq chain.
Pickle Ricks just showed up on Cryptopia when Cryptopia switched DOT, which was their native token that everyone has to use to pay for listings. It used to be its own script mineable blockchain, but they were having blockchain attack issues like so many others. So they switched it over to Ubiq, and then during the Ubiq swap, they also added that CEFS, which is another like a Cryptopia token, and then Rix also showed up at the exact same time. They called it a test token when they tweeted it, which is funny, but essentially that's all there is to it. There's no fundamentals, there's no dev team, there's nobody who's claiming
I've never even seen a Bitcoin Talk post on it. It's pretty funny.
It's about the least amount of information you could ever find on a crypto, so of course it's got to be having a huge pump on it.
Not really much volume, to be honest, but still really fun to watch that type of thing happen.
No, it's thin markets. It's just that funny. It's that funny kind of thing in crypto where you get really used to everybody being like, "Oh my God, this coin pumped because of this, wallet release, or this is pumping because of something the dev did, or this is, this is going up because it's such a great idea." And you watch the markets for long enough, and you realize that the coins, the price action often has nothing to do with anything fundamental related, and it's just nice to see a coin like Pickle Ricks as like an obvious reminder of that.
Yep, and hopefully people can learn from that too. To, hopefully not many people bought in at the top last night or whatever.
Yeah, this is not a sound investment, please.
Okay, so let's look at the overall market. dynamics here.
What do we got? Looking at the big market, Bitcoin is up 2.6% this week. So once again, still climbing. So this will be like the 5th week in a row for Bitcoin.
Nice. And Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin by quite a bit. Ethereum up 15.5%-ish.
Yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin, like we said, were both really on a tear earlier in the week. Both tailed off kind of a little bit in the last day or so, but Ethereum obviously outperforming. I hadn't realized that Ethereum was up this much, but I gotta believe the numbers.
And both of the other Coinbase coins have actually been performing well too, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, Bitcoin Cash doing huge this week. It's like everyone got the memo, I guess. So this will be 5th week that Bitcoin's going up, 4th week in a row that altcoins and Bitcoin have gone up in tandem, I think.
Yep. This week we're seeing the top 300 altcoins just barely outperforming Bitcoin, though. They have a change of about 3.28% compared to that Bitcoin 2.6.
Yep, so just barely outperforming. And for the first time since this latest alt run started, the median altcoin is actually losing against Bitcoin. So the majority of the top 300 lost value against Bitcoin this week. It's just that, as usual, the big winners make up more than enough to offset that. But definitely the first signs of a slowdown that we've seen in this run.
Yeah, in the last month or so, I guess you would say.
Yep, and it's in line with what you'd expect, right? Alts are outperforming Bitcoin several weeks in a row. You're going to expect that when that trend changes, even if temporarily or just for a week or two, you're going to expect the alts to get hit harder than Bitcoin. And I'm curious to see what happens. Like I've said the past couple weeks, I'm waiting for a big Bitcoin drop to see. I'm expecting alts to drop even more. If they can hold a little bit of ground there during a big Bitcoin red candle, then I'm going to consider that bullish, I guess. And hopefully the SEC ruling, if nothing else, if it does go poorly, at least if nothing else, it'll probably give me that red candle I've been looking for to test the strength of the alt market.
One thing I guess I don't hear people that I don't know if it crossed my mind until now very much is that if the SEC ruling going in one way could be positive for the markets, is that even or is the best case scenario no change?
No change. I think that there are a lot of people who think that ETH will spike, and that ERC20s in particular will spike if the ruling goes well.
So looking at just kind of a grab bag of gainers from that top 300 market cap list, got Delphi up 112%, Stocks up 108%, Limpo up 83%, Polymath up 61%, and Loom Network up 57%.
I think that was a Binance ad or something. Over on the loser side, we have Boss Coin. They're down 37%. Z Classic is given up about 35%. Z Classic had bounced after they had a huge crash from the snapshot.
Right.
Looks like they were not able to sustain the bounce this week. We got Mixin down 26%, Bytom down 24%, and Populous is down 22%. And I think that pretty much will cover it for the markets.
Yep.
Once again, it's that SEC thing's really the big question.
Well,
right
and
now.
also I see, there's plenty of coins that are doing okay and holding their prices or going up.
Yep.
But you can see that I think part of with having so many coins with such high market caps now, some of the less successful ones losing just a small percentage all at once kind of drags that overall percentage for that top 300 down more than it used to.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see what you mean there. Some of these, like the big money ICOs, the $500 million, $500 billion ICOs take a hit in the whole
that
index.
can lose 20% in a week or whatever,
Right.
just randomly.
Yep.
So let's go to our trivia question.
That's right. Jumping right into the trivia. Once again, we wanted to give a shout out there to Block Audit, the Twitter there at blockaudit.org. Get some code reviews if you're a crypto developer. Get some consultation, smart contract advice, security advice.
Yep. They hooked us up with some wager coin to give away.
That's right.
And I'm pretty proud of this question, I got to say. I was happy with this one.
Good. I like it.
The way that this works is we ask a question, and the first person to tweet at Chain Dynamics with the answer wins.
There you have it. So the question this week: how many days passed between LTC being listed on GDAX and Coinbase?
That's right. How many days passed between Litecoin being listed on GDAX and Coinbase? The way that company works basically is they'll list something on GDAX until they build up enough liquidity to offer it on Coinbase.
You're going to tweet that answer to @ChainDynamics. The person who gets it first will get 250 wager. And as always, you do have to get it before the end of the live broadcast, or we will roll the prize to next week.
Cool.
There we go.
Up next, we're bringing back a little segment from the past.
We are bringing back our random coin spotlight segment. The way this works is we just roll a random number between 1 and 100, and then we go over to CoinMarketCap, and that's the altcoin that we will decide to take a look at.
Yep, and it's interesting. We recognize fewer and fewer of the top 100 coins. So part of this is an attempt for us to get out of our comfort zone and try to learn about some of the projects that we ignored or missed out on for whatever reasons.
That's right. So you're going to get to, kind of walk with us on a journey here as we venture out of our comfort zone of proof of work type coins and take a look at some ICOs.
First is Populous.
Populous token.
PPT is the ticker on that.
Do you know what the market cap on that was?
I did not write that down.
Let me just grab it real quick. So Populous token, the rank on this is number 39. So
okay.
That was our random number that we got.
So that's got to be a pretty darn high market cap.
Really, really darn high market cap, chilling at a cool 726 million.
Which, according to the Binance Coin Info, is up 7,901% from its issuing price.
Oh my God! So that's 79x from the ICO. That's crazy. The peak on this thing was 2.7 billion in January. So huge. It's huge market cap ICO token.
So as a trader, I'm like terrified of it, basically, the way that of the style of trading I do.
I completely know what you mean, man. I'm used to like looking for really undervalued things, and the first thing I see looking at something that's up 79x and is chilling at 700 million valuation, right, is like it's hard for me to see upside on that.
I got a trivia winner.
Oh, nice. Got it already. Kudos. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Anthony Nanwani.
Anthony, get us your wager address.
I'll hook you up. I'll contact you after the show. And the answer to that was 253 days. That's the length of time that it took between Litecoin on GDAX and Coinbase.
I'm surprised it was that long. But I guess that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Is Bitcoin Cash on there? Or are we still waiting?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that length of time was quite a bit shorter. But from my memory of it, I'd have to look up to be specific.
All right. So congratulations to the trivia winner there.
Yep, we'll get at you. And now back to what we were talking about, which is a random coin called Populous.
Populous token.
So what's the idea of this coin here? The idea is to allow people to buy and sell invoices through the Ethereum blockchain.
We were confused by this at first because we're, I don't know, just a couple of regular Joes.
Yeah, we aren't familiar with like all these financial instruments that can be turned into blockchain tokens or ideas.
Yeah, so I was thinking invoices like accounts receivable or that kind of crap, but it's a financial instrument apparently that people trade as a type of a way of collateralizing loans, right?
Yeah, essentially, let's say that I have I'm selling stickers and I sell 1 million stickers to client A and I invoice them, and now I'm just hanging out waiting for them to pay me, and my cash flow is so low because they're a big company and I'm a little company. I can sell the invoice to another person for the cash right away, and then the invoice has to be paid to the person who bought that, or the actual. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
So is this the idea almost as like a DEX then it would be a DEX, a decentralized market for these invoices, I guess?
Yeah, basically. And apparently, it's one of those things where they say it's already a large industry. I find it interesting as an idea, but I'm not super interested in these types of projects. So I was trying to kind of read past those parts, and it was a little difficult for me.
Yeah, the problem that I have always had with ICOs, and the problem that I still have just looking at this, is the ability to find good information through all the noise is incredibly difficult. Like just going through the thread, there's a huge amount of FUD out there, all the classic stuff. But a lot of it resonates too. That's the hard thing about it. Is a lot of times I read the FUD and I'm like, that's a pretty good point. Like,
right.
They haven't done, in this case they do have what appears to be a beta product running, which is is probably better than most of these ICOs could say. So I don't want to sell them too short on their what the level of development is here.
Yeah, we didn't sign up for the beta, but it looked like it was available to sign up for.
But as far as what some of the criticisms of the project are, one of the things is that the founder has been jailed for financial crimes in the past, which is never a great look. I think this is just a question of there's always a question with these of the economics of the token in terms of do the reward split, the ICO structure, all that stuff is always, especially on these super high cap ICOs, tends to be just really heavily weighted in ways that are not appealing to an outside investor, right? It's maybe if you could get in on the initial ICO, or especially if you're running the ICO, you're going to be like, all right, that's a pretty sweet deal.
I'm going to invest in myself a bit.
But yeah, looking at it after the fact, I'm like, there's a lot of it that I just can't get excited about.
Yeah, I understand, because I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I hope that they can be successful. It kind of falls into the boat of some projects that I've seen where when you're dealing with things that exist already in, to quote not so fast, meat space, when you're dealing with meat space stuff and trying to put it on the blockchain, you really have to get it done. And then the hope is that by using blockchain technology, the friction will be less, right?
Yes.
And everything will be so inexpensive that you'll get all of the business coming to you
through your
and
blockchain
everyone
platform.
Wins.
Yep, everybody wins. It's decentralized. The costs go down. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
But there's one thing. There was a really interesting economic analysis released of a lot of these tokens that was addressing that issue. And one of the things that they pointed out is that these tokens work, you would actually not expect the price to be that high. If they're actually creating a really efficient network of doing what they're doing, then the reward that you get for being the one to facilitate this should be really not that high. And that's one of the things that gets me with the huge valuations on a lot of these ICOs is from a fundamentals perspective. If I'm looking at something that is just replacing an existing industry or making kind of improvements around the edge of it, I don't understand, why I would expect to pay, some of these billion-dollar valuations that these huge service-oriented blockchains like Ethereum.
Like, why is it so worth so much more now that it's on the blockchain?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And we all know how the game works, right? We all know that the price is often totally divorced from the fundamentals, and that the technicals are their whole own thing, and that's fine. But for me, as somebody who's used to doing fundamentals on like older style coins, it's hard for me to get a perspective of value on something like this.
So that's a little bit of our take on random coin Populous, which is an invoice trading or AKA invoice factoring software on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, really, I guess the bottom line for me on it is that it is a good idea. I like all these ICOs have good ideas. I have no way to validate that the execution is any good, and some of the FUD and criticism is really believable too. So I guess it's just the project will speak for itself over time.
And up next, we'll take a look at one more random coin here. This one is called Substratum.
That's right, Substratum. We rolled a 72 on this one, so this guy's at 72 there on CoinMarketCap.
The first thing that Brandon remembered with this was that they had tweeted the fake Coinbase ad. Which wasn't a great look.
No, that's never a great look. And it didn't even the market didn't even spike that much, which is the sad thing. I feel bad for anybody that fell for that, but
that was a hack though, right?
That was a Twitter hack. Yep, everyone's
we're throwing up our air quotes just because you guys can't see them.
If it's not a hack, it was a pretty poor choice either way. But it's not a good look for him either way. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, if your Twitter's getting hacked, how can we trust your ICO? Which, it's like,
yeah, I don't know about that.
If it's if the guy running the Twitter account,
if somebody wants your Twitter, they're probably going to get it.
Yeah. And if it's the guy running the Twitter account is the guy who's running the ICO wallet, then maybe I'll be worried. But if it's just some community manager, then whatever.
All right. So what is Substratum about? It basically, they describe themselves as trying to create a fully decentralized web. So for me, this isn't too different in concept from something like the Onion Router network. You basically run some software, and it gives you access to the websites on that network.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the underlying technology to know whether, to what extent it's different than Tor, but in terms of looking at it from what would be the end user perspective, it seems like it's really that would be like the most obvious analogy for me. There
is one very easy to understand difference, which is in the case of Substratum, you can be a host on the network and be paid in Substratum to host web pages.
Yep. The first question we had about this is, wouldn't it just work better just to have ETH be the token? You know, people are paying ETH to...
We want to ask that about every
Right.
project, basically.
And to be fair, you know, what we decided is, to be fair, you know, the financial incentive for them to develop the project is based on them monetizing it, and the way to monetize things in the token economy is through a token. So, you know, of course there's a token, right? And, you know, I get that. I'm not going to...
Right.
I'm not going to...
Yeah, we don't dwell on that too much. So, yeah, there's some people running host nodes, and then there's other people running client nodes, basically, to access those websites.
Indeed.
It's closed source, which is pretty uncommon in this space, but, of course, they always say they're working towards open sourcing it.
Which really surprises me that for it being closed source, it has all of the listings that it has. I mean, I would hope for the sake of these exchanges that they are at least requiring getting the source before they list these coins, but
yeah, that would be very...
It's a little dubious compared to what we're used to in that regard.
Right.
Which once again, you know, it's a new day and all that, and these guys have to some extent protect their IP while they develop it, and they are saying that they're going to open source it when they release the product, of course.
This one looks like it's currently in a closed beta, so I can't find a sign-up form, but it looks like there's some people participating. I couldn't find much feedback on their current experiences, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing I reflected on is this idea definitely isn't new. They might come at it from a different angle a bit, but, you know, a decentralized internet is something people have been working on for probably a decade or more, I would imagine.
Yep.
And I've always felt like it's likely that in the future there could be a lot of different, another air quotes, internets out there.
There's like parallel internets,
which can require
almost
different software or hardware to access. So,
right.
You know, this one doesn't have any reason to be worse off than those.
Yeah, yep, I feel you on that one. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, once again, it's an interesting idea. Like we say with these ICOs, the one thing that they are good at is coming up with interesting ideas of things that are like, yeah, I like the sound of that, you know?
Right.
And they've done that once again. But once again, I'm reading through the thread, and there's a bunch of, you know, bogus information. There's a bunch of people who are like hopelessly, insanely optimistic about the projects, like really naive about them. There's also people that are just really pissed off about them and just like, irrationally upset about the projects. And so it's hard to find info. But once again, I did find a lot of the FUD to be believable. This guy, the founder of this one, also has an arrest record.
Of course.
So we picked 2 random ICOs this week, and both of the CEOs have criminal records, which, you know, I'm not here to put a lot of faith in the justice system or, like, you know, point a finger at this guy, but it's just, you know, what are the chances, I guess?
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's not a great look, once again. There's also some questions about issues with the contract. It seems like the contract that they used to run the token just reflected just wasn't a well-coded contract. It was from like an unknown, copied from another unknown token. Potentially has issues in terms of giving them the ability to generate coins. Potentially has some kind of other issues with the contract and the burn addresses and that kind of stuff. It's just, these are all things that don't reflect necessarily well on the ability of the people to deliver on the really ambitious projects that they're claiming to be delivering.
Right. And for me, when I combine that with the fact that this coin is up 875% from its issuing price, makes it really hard for me to take more than a couple looks at it.
Yeah, really, the takeaway for me looking at both of these coins is it's almost impossible for me to imagine playing any of these without having participated in the ICO or having been with them from that point forward. Because it's just, you know, I know it's a bad mentality to really obsessively focus on the person that got the cheapest price or whatever, but for me, for something especially where my fundamentals picture is so cloudy, I have a hard time wanting to be a late adopter on something when it seems like getting in on the ICO part is so much more straightforward.
So that is your blockchain boys trying to take a look at a couple tokens.
It didn't go. We didn't get too excited on either of these the first time, but we won't give up. We'll see if we can find some ICOs.
I mean, that's kind of the nature of something random too. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, these were literally just random coins. These weren't recommended to us or anything. So
okay,
there you have it. That's our first look at some ICOs.
let's take a look at some of those new coins.
All right, jumping into new coins this week. I had a few this week, not a super busy week on the new coin front. But let's see what we dug up here. First thing I'm looking at is Airin, A-I-R-I-N.
A-I-R-I-N.
The new Masternode experience. Well, everyone is tired of the old Masternode experience. I'll give them that.
How can they change the user experience for masternodes here?
I'm seeing some nice graphics here. It just, makes you wonder if they stole them, but I do see it has the name of the coin in there. Pretty high detail, so that looks original.
That is a cool graphic. I'll give you that.
I like that. The specs are like really typical Masternode stuff. 50% reward goes to Masternodes. It's got a big old pre-mine to get the developers Masternodes right off the bat.
I'm never stoked on the roadmap having specific exchange listings on it, such as Bittrex or Polonius listing. That's
yeah, I know.
We've seen a lot of coins put that type of thing on a roadmap and have absolutely no ability to deliver it.
It implies that it implies they have a level of control over the situation that we all know they don't have.
Right. So just a note.
The gimmick on this one is that they're saying that it's going to allow sharing of masternodes, so you can pool. People can pool together to host masternodes. That's the idea. But otherwise, I think they just included this one for the graphics. Otherwise, it's a masternode coin with pre-mines. They're probably selling them in the Discord like OTC, and that's not a good sign if they are.
I like the idea of the masternode pooling. Is that able to be done in a trustless manner? Or is that through like a service that they provide?
Let's see what they say. User-friendly shared masternode system. Blah, 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 blah. They're saying it's a contract-based, which is a bit of a red flag because it's not coming off of a code base that has an easy implementation of contracts. But,
All right, well, that's the new coin, A-I-R-I-N.
Airin, yep.
Airin.
Just another masternode coin, but they're saying that they can have pooled masternodes.
Up next in the new coin list is Roxy.
All right, we got Roxy coin.
Ooh, seasonal phases. What does that mean?
Oh, man, I love seasonal phases. Ooh, look at this nice picture of windmills and a landscape. That's how you know it's eco-friendly.
Ah, okay.
Coin itself here. What? I don't know why I included this one. It looks like a pretty generic masternode. Another one. They're slowing down a little bit on the masternodes now, like not getting quite as many of the pre-sale threads and that kind of stuff. So I can tell that they're running out of gas, but they're still churning them out at a pretty good pace here. I don't see anything good about this. I don't know why I put it in here.
Is this just masternode pre-sale, or is there proof of work here? I can't even find the proof of work.
They say that there's a POW season, whatever that means.
Ah, okay. But they're not there yet.
Yeah, a lot of times that means it's really short, like only 1,000 blocks or something. Like could already be over. That coin was Roxy coin.
Next up is TelleCoin.
TelleCoin with 2 L's. T-E-L-L-E coin. All right, so what's interesting about this one is that it's got the Ray blocks thing. You can solve CAPTCHAs and get the coins.
Oh man, that's
CAPTCHA solver.
That's pretty much free.
That's bully.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, but the thread otherwise is very low effort, which is not always bad.
They got a GitHub, huh? At least is it actually open sourced? Let's check this out.
Yeah, isn't that funny? We've fallen so far that we're like, oh my god, they at least have a GitHub.
The GitHub is empty. The repository is empty.
The GitHub should be standard, but sadly these
they have
days.
The compiled.
The repo's empty. Is that what you said?
Well, they have the compiled versions, but it doesn't look like the sources here.
Guys, do not download any wallet that does not have a source code. Just don't do it.
Yeah, there's no reason that they shouldn't provide the source code, basically, for an actual open source cryptocurrency project.
Well, that's too bad. I was kind of starting to be interested in this one, but
do I need the wallet to claim any coins, or
I think it's a Telegram based thing. God knows how that's going to work.
All right, so that is, they have a POW too, it looks like, huh?
Yep. Yeah, it's concurrent POW, but most of the reward is for the CAPTCHA.
For the claimers.
Yep. That coin there is TelleCoin.
Oh, wait.
What? You find the GitHub?
I found the source.
Oh, sweet. All right.
It wasn't in the right spot. What are you guys doing?
It's all good. All right. So I guess maybe at least look at it.
Just use a virtual machine. That's what Brandon does.
It's true. That's what you should do.
Isolates that stuff.
Or if you're, the next level of gangster, of course, is to just run the Linux compile from source every time.
Yeah, but unless you're willing to review the source, you're not like guaranteeing yourself there's not something in there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yep. So yeah, VMs. And that's true. All my Linux wallets run on VMs too. It's just there's no reason not to. If you're in crypto and you want to run mining or run a lot of wallets, you have to get a VM host machine that you can use and trust. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah. So that was a new coin called TelleCoin, and it has some CAPTCHA claims.
Claim it. It's the first one I've seen since Rayblocks. I'm surprised there's not more of those.
I want to go. I'm tempted.
I'm ready to get some captchas.
The show's over. All right. Now let's go on to the next new coin here.
We got Nerva. This is a crypto note coin of the week. So I thought I'd toss that in there.
Nice. Good to see that they're still coming out.
Yeah, I think they got a big old, not too big of a pre-mine, big enough pre-mine. It has a pre-mine.
It looks like they threw up a Discord.
They're checking that box. So what was interesting about this one, I think it had something to do with the algorithm. Okay, they got Crypto Night Adaptive Algorithm. This is a direct response to the issue with the Asics for Monero, of course.
Oh, okay. Is this then their own solution, or is it one that they took from somebody else that solved that problem?
This is something that was mentioned as a possibility with Monero, and so what they're saying is that they're going to have an algorithm that changes automatically at regular intervals, essentially breaking all the miners. What's left is solo mining with a daemon in a wallet. Well, that's not true. Somebody will work around that for sure. It's based on Monero v7. I don't understand how it's meaningfully different. It seems like there's some cosmetic tweaks from v7, but I don't understand how it's meaningfully different from v7. Does Monero v7 have a algorithm change built into it? I might have to look that up.
Not that I'm aware of, but I'd hate to say that I'm sure about that.
Yep. Well, either way, it's interesting to me always to see at least any kind of a tweak to the algorithm, as long as there's not too many other red flags. So,
and plus, if it's been 7 days, there has to be another crypto note coin.
And it does have that pre-mine, but they have an X in the ticker. You drop that X in the ticker, and that takes like half a point. That takes easy half a point off your pre-mine, I think, in terms of your fundamentals evaluation.
All right, so up next, oh, what a name, this one, ShitCoin Deluxe.
ShitCoin Deluxe, man. I know that a lot of you are on just like kind of the shitcoin, the base tier, the level 1. You're gonna want to get up to deluxe.
Yeah, right. So what do they got here?
This is like a parody. It's a kind of a
rip-off coin style thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like a meta take on the absurdness of altcoins, I guess.
I can't think of a meta coin that's made it too far, unfortunately.
The best example I can think of would be Paycon. Remember that one that the guy made because he was really, I mean, I don't know what he was like, but it was in response to Paycoin, the Ga miners scam coin, and he ended up he ended up sticking with the project for a really long time, and he really tried to develop it independently of it being what it was,
right? Compared
to like maybe rip-off coin, but no, these don't usually last too long. But if you think that they're going to have zero value, you might be surprised too. Usually they, a lot of times they'll stick around for a few months and at least get like a listing and have a small cap at least. But I have no idea what's going to happen here with ShitCoin Deluxe, of course. What's the specs on it? We got a script. Script looks like a real Litecoin.
Yeah, nothing too special.
Looks like real close to Litecoin.
84 million supply, 50 coins per block.
Oh, it is. It is just a Litecoin fork. Okay. All right.
That is ShitCoin Deluxe, and the next new coin we're going to take a quick look at is PollyWog.
PollyWog. That
That's a great word.
It is a good word. PollyWog. So what's going on here? They're going to create a market via, it's like is that a DEX theme maybe?
Buy and sell products on a platform via cryptographic currencies.
That doesn't quite make sense. This might, looking a little bit like a wallet builders or something here, to be honest.
40 million coins, block reward 40.
Didn't code the nodes into the wallet right. That's always a good sign. Yeah, this is looking like a really low effort.
This doesn't look like it's going to be around for very long.
Low effort script type clone.
And that's PollyWog.
That's PollyWog. I think that's going to run it or that'll do it, I guess, for the
new coins.
New coins for this week.
Yeah.
Looking back at the list, the only one I'm a little bit interested in, actually I'd say TelleCoin and Nerva coin, I will give a second look.
Yeah, if I can get some TelleCoins for free without compromising any of my systems, I'm down for that.
Without getting a horrible virus.
And I agree with you. I can't hate a crypto note coin of the week. And if ShitCoin Deluxe makes it 6 months, I'll smile at them.
The thing for Nerva on me, obviously, if that algorithm is meaningfully different, then it might be worth trying to mine a little bit. But if it's just a really cosmetic change, then it probably is not going to justify the pre-mine.
So our next segment here is a quick look at coin listings around the space this week.
That's right. Who's getting listed and where's it going down?
Bitfinex listed 3 different things this week. They listed Verge, Stellar Lumens, and Bitcoin Interest, BCI.
Okay. 2 of those things seem very, really obvious choices to me. I don't know what BCI is, but...
Man, I don't know.
Maybe is it just one of those forks or something? Probably.
I don't really know, but all I can think on this list is if this is not Verge's final form, then I'd be really surprised. I just get so surprised.
Where does Verge go from here?
How far this coin has made it.
You know where it ends up.
Up to Bitfinex at this point. Really amazing.
Verge won. It's going to be Verge at the end. It's not like in South Park, the movie where they get to heaven and the guy's like, oh, it was the Mormons that got it right.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like at the end of cryptocurrency. Everyone's just going to be like, it was Verge. It was Verge. But no, yeah, Verge. Verge is on Bitfinex this week.
Amazing. Binance listed Loom, which was, I think, in one of the winners up there, right?
It was. Yep.
And then Cryptopia listed EOS and Lisk. Some big dogs coming on to Cryptopia.
Big names. Again, I feel like those guys are probably just rounding out their marketing funds or whatever. Their exchange with the... Although really, Lisk got their ICO 2 years ago. They could have paid a lot less for a Cryptopia listing.
You're right. If that's what they did, right? If that's what's going on.
So over on Coin Exchange, they added Coinmatic, Flanders Coin, Tellion, Amon, and APR Coin.
Dang, I did not realize Tellion was listed somewhere till right now. So I can actually...
What's Tellion?
That's the...
From earlier? I think that's different.
Oh, you're right.
Sorry,
I mistaked TelleCoin for Tellion, just so you guys know what happened there.
How could you make that mistake?
So, okay.
Eventually, I feel like eventually the cryptos will just have random names and tickers. It'll be like, did you check out...
It should just be hash-based.
Yeah,
big,
exactly.
Long 256-bit hash.
You'll know it's a coin if it has 2 equals at the end.
Yeah, let's see. So they also listed Amon and APR Coin over there on Coin Exchange.
Yep. On South Exchange, they added BTCX.
I could not find anything about that coin.
And then over on Livecoin, they added Heartbout and Cannabio. Okay.
All right.
Bunch of listings there.
Nothing really getting me too excited.
No, just stuff getting rounded out. This is none of this is interesting projects getting on exchange for the first time. It's just everyone spreading out.
Well, I mean, some of the ones we haven't heard of could be interesting, but we can't really say.
Yes,
right?
But I'm incredibly judgmental, so I'm going to assume, offhand, that if I have not heard about it, that it's bad.
I'll go with you on that. All right, next up is our final segment, Coin Birthdays.
Here we go. We love those coin birthdays. Not too many survivors from the class of 2017, so we got to give a big shout out to Bismuth this week.
Yeah, absolutely. A big 1-year happy birthday to Bismuth.
Let's see, they launched May 1st, 2017, and they're currently chilling at a humble 1,500 Bitcoin market cap.
Very nice for 1 year in, and I just always feel like all this coin needs is one more big push to get a bunch of people's attention. So.
Yeah, you're totally right.
But either way,
kudos
1
to
year,
Bismuth,
good job.
man. Love it. Love it. Just to think, last year Bismuth was just a new coin segment.
Right.
Brings a tear to my eye.
It looked like a good launch at the time. So it's really cool to see that they are able to keep that chain going.
Yeah, it's not easy to keep the momentum going on a new, especially ground up proof of work like that, and
lots of things can go wrong.
Yeah, so much. So yeah, good on them over at Bismuth.
Happy birthday.
That's it. It's going to wrap it up here. Blockchain Dynamics show number 93. Congratulations once again to the trivia winner. We'll get with you on Twitter there. The website is www.blockchaindynamics.net.
That's all correct, and we thank you once again for listening, and we'll see you next week with way heavier bags. Bye.
Cryptocurrency. Like a couple Bitcoins. Money, 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 though. Hold up on my Nakamoto.